Oh. Hey everyone, so Spielberg month is actually going pretty well. I mean, most of them have been masterpieces and we're just going to continue this trend by...
I want to do Spielberg.
Please rephrase that.
Spielberg, Spielberg, Spielberg.
Well, why didn't you say so?
I mean, you already did Hook without me, so I don't know how I'm going to forgive you, Rob.
I'm sorry, okay? How about a silly robot film instead?
Okay.
How exactly do we pull this off?
Set in the future, AI tells the story of a couple, Henry and Monica, played by Sam Robards and Frances O'Connor respectively. Their son is tragically contracted with a rare disease and is on the verge of death.
Because what's a Spielberg movie without a father-son tragedy?
But what does it amount to?
Meanwhile, the world is filled with mecha people, basically robots, but they have designed the first ever mecha child, played by Haley Joel Osment, who is capable of experiencing love and emotion, so he is given to the couple to replace their dying child.
I'm not sure I want to watch this anymore. I might drive off a cliff afterwards.
But I wasn't referring to sensuality simulators. The word that I used was love.
No one asked if it was a sensuality simulator, weirdo.
There is no substitute for your own child!
But their son, played by Lizzie McGuire's brother, is cured and returns home, only to enter a heated world of jealousy between the two.
Before he seeks out help to become a real boy. It's basically a horror movie version of Pinocchio. They don't even try to hide it.
Pinocchio awoke. She can make me into a real boy.
Funnily enough, the movie didn't even start out as a Steven Spielberg project. Originally, it was in the hands of Stanley Kubrick. Oh no, looking at the first part of the movie, I was shocked too.
In the late 1970s, Kubrick wanted to develop an adaptation of Super Toys Last All Summer Long, with Brian Aldiss writing the treatment, and in 1985 he decided to only produce and had asked Spielberg to direct.
Warner Brothers agreed to co-finance the picture and cover the distribution costs, but the film then began to linger in development hell for years. In 1989, Kubrick and Aldiss didn't see eye to eye on the project, so the latter was kicked off the film.
Bob Shaw then joined as a writer, but left after only 6 weeks due to Kubrick's hectic work schedule, probably wanting them to work 400 days a year. Just ask Shelley Duvall how that bloody went. I do love Kubrick though.
In March 1990, Ian Watson was then picked up as a writer, which angered Aldiss even further as he stated, "Not only did the bastard fire me, he hired my enemy instead."
Kubrick gave Watson The Adventures of Pinocchio for inspiration, calling it a picturesque robot version of Pinocchio.
Just 3 weeks later, the first story treatment was done, and by May 1991, he provided another, which was 90 pages long, and he then left the project.
Jude Law plays a guy called Gigolo Joe. No, seriously, he's called bloody Gigolo Joe. Sounds like a member of the Insane Clown Posse.
We only want for your happiness.
And originally he was going to be just a GI mecha, but it was Watson who changed him to a male prostitute.
I'm afraid it will hurt.
I've got a Robocock. Who cares if it hurts? Learn some emotion, you AI prick. To be fair, it is quite positive to see that sort of thing talked about years ago, because obviously this was a time when that sort of stuff was completely brushed under the rug, so I do respect Spielberg for including that.
Over the years, Kubrick actually left the project as he felt that computer animation hadn't advanced enough yet to create the robot child character, so he focused on an adaptation of Wartime Lies instead. But when his buddy Spielberg came out with a little film you may have heard about called Jurassic Park, he realised that this project could be made after all. And by November 1993, they announced that AI would go ahead the following year, with Dennis Murin and Ned Gorman, who worked on the special effects for the dinosaur flick, joining the project. However, Kubrick was still unhappy with their pre-visualization.
What do we do?
At the beginning of '94, Christopher Baker worked as a concept artist and Sarah Maitland helped with the story, aiming it to have a feminist fairy tale focus, and allegedly Kubrick never actually referred to the film as AI, but always as Pinocchio.
Have you ever considered just remaking Pinocchio?
Well, yeah, but to be fair, all we ever do is complain about remakes.
Shut up.
Is this your first time?
Chris Cunningham came on board as the visual effects supervisor, and he put together a series of small robot-type humans for the boy character named David, stating, "We tried to construct a little boy with a movable rubber face to see whether we could make it look appealing." While producer Jan Harlan claimed, but it was a total failure. It looked awful. No, that was just Haley Joel Osment's face.
During production, Kubrick, as well as Harlan, thought that Spielberg would be better suited as the director, and he was officially offered the reins in 1995. However, he was busy making other movies and managed to convince Kubrick to stay on as the director in charge, causing delays as he was also busy making Eyes Wide Shut.
Sadly, in March 1999, Stanley Kubrick passed away from a heart attack in his sleep at the age of 70. Producer Jan Harlan and Kubrick's own widow then approached Spielberg to take over as director and to complete the film in his friend's memory. This led to Stevie McWonderpants III using Watson's story treatment and writing together the screenplay himself, making it his first solo screenplay credit since Close Encounters 24 years earlier.
I don't remember.
However, production was delayed even further as Spielberg considered picking up the first Harry Potter movie, as well as working on Minority Report. He was even approached to direct Memoirs of a Geisha. Eventually, he agreed to take on AI and then make Minority Report straight after. Because heaven forbid Spielberg ever takes, a 5-minute rest.
That is ridiculous.
It was later reported by those involved that the script we ended up seeing on the big screen was extremely faithful to Kubrick's vision.
Filming was due to begin on July 10th, 2000, but shocker, it was delayed further until August, shot mostly on sound stages in Long Beach, California. Spielberg also maintained his friend Kubrick's style by refusing to give the cast a complete script and banned the press from visiting the set, and even making the actors sign $1 million confidentiality agreements.
Kubrick would be proud. Now make them do 127 takes and make their lives miserable.
Make Haley Joel Osment cry.
Yes, please.
In fact, there's an electronic teddy bear throughout the film voiced by Jack Angel, and he recorded his lines entirely out of context. The only direction he was given was to sound like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, except very wise and old and stoic. However, he was still asked to be on the set every day so that Spielberg could make any line alterations whenever he felt necessary.
In regards to casting, most selected were the first choice, but for the part of Monica, Julianne Moore and Gwyneth Paltrow were considered before Frances O'Connor got the part. There's also a small role of a comedian robot who was originally going to be voiced by Jerry Seinfeld before...
Did you kind of shoot me over the propeller thing?
Chris Rock, what are you doing here?
Keep Spielberg's name out your fucking mouth. Yes.
I don't know.
AI artificial intelligence, because apparently just AI was far too complex for your average moviegoer to comprehend, was released on June the 29th, 2001, and though it received generally positive reviews from critics, it got mixed reviews from fans, and it also underperformed at the box office. On a budget of somewhere between $90 and $100 million, it only earned $235.9. So despite being the fourth highest grossing that year, it was still pretty much a disappointment, especially considering Spielberg's attachment.
Kubrick's widow, however, loved the movie and was convinced that her late husband would have enjoyed it. I mean, it's a fucked up movie, so of course he would. The movie also became a pioneer for the virtual studio with its unique environment and atmosphere, utilising techniques later used in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Initially, Roger Ebert only gave it 3 out of 4 stars, but later changed it to a full 4 and admitted that he was wrong.
Oh, that is ridiculous.
I mean, it's just a harmless little family film about a kid robot. It sounds wholesome enough.
Hundreds of millions of people starved in poorer countries.
Ah, there you are, Spielberg. I will say, the special effects are actually pretty damn impressive for 2001. Okay, not all of them are going to still hold up, but shut up. But for the most part, they're actually pretty good. The environment is decent, the CGI is cool. Sometimes the blue screens aren't spectacular, but they're decent enough. But it's still another sci-fi film with a whole bunch of sci-fi mumbo-jumbo.
I believe that my work on mapping the impulse pathways in a single neuron can enable us to construct a mecha of a qualitatively different order.
Okay. I just love how we've learned nothing and creating a robot child for a grieving couple still sounds like a good idea.
We are so sorry to inform you, your child is dead. But we have got a bloody robot over here. It's not nicked or knocked off. Do you want it? Could be your new son.
And then we cut to 20 months late. Pretty precise. I also love how this scientist is a spitting image of Steven Spielberg. I had to do a second take, self-centered bastard.
I like your floor.
Man, how is Haley Joel Osment creepier here than in the Ghost flick?
Nah, the human dad's way creepier.
The mecha child.
I mean, they sure got the casting right. The kid's creepy as shit without even doing anything. In fact, the first half of the movie is genuinely a slasher film. Just add some horror music and it's perfect.
I like your floor.
can have a translucent bathroom door in your house anyway, the perverts.
It's almost as if getting an AI son wasn't a good idea. Imagine that, science.
There is a scene where he starts to mimic the dad's motions because Spielberg is resorting to ripping off his own movies now. He's been doing films for a while, guys. Let's cut him some slack. But I will say, Osment gives an insane performance as he switches between completely creepy to perfectly normal and friendly.
Pick up the phone, Monica.
Run along, play
Pick up
with Teddy.
the phone, Monica. Oh my God, Monica.
There's a scene where his mother has to abandon him in the forest. Fun! And the acting on both sides is amazing.
This kid really could have been the next Leonardo DiCaprio when he grew up. I mean, Haley Joel Osment really was on track to be one of the greatest actors of his time, and it's such a shame that it didn't pan out that way. He really was a great young actor.
Even her acting on the drive there, you can tell that she's regretting it already and doesn't want to go through with it. But considering he's supposed to be a robot, it's spectacular acting. Not sure how a robot can cry.
Yeah, that's the problem I'm noticing with this. I've got no idea because the rules aren't explained especially well. Fascinating concept, but not overly clear at all.
But then again, if food short circuits him but water doesn't, who cares? I suppose he doesn't ingest the water, but shut up!
I can't hear you.
But the scene is absolutely horrifying to watch. Jesus Christ, it's all sorts of messed up. Who hurt you, Spielberg? Do you need a hug? Do you need someone? We can call them. There's a scene where he's about to get crucified in front of a live crowd. Charming!
Schindler's List is looking like a barrel of bloody laughs at this point.
Why is this happening?
And his performance is unbelievable. He delivers some great dialogue.
Mommy loves Martin because he is real, and when I am real, Mommy's going to read to me and tuck me in my bed and sing to me and listen to what I say, and she will cuddle with me and tell me every day 100 times a day that she loves me.
And he's probably the greatest child actor I have ever seen. It's mind-blowingly impressive. Every scene he's in, he absolutely steals.
Again, it's such a shame he didn't go on to be an adult actor. We need actors like him.
But is it really wise to leave your child alone with a creepy-ass robo-kid? Especially one who's been replaced?
How is he worth the risk to you, or to Martin, or to us as a family?
See? The dude's speaking sense. He's been a weird, creepy shit ever since you got him. Have you never seen a movie before? Get rid of the fucker.
But he's cute and innocent and resembles a child. Nothing can go wrong.
I mean, he literally grabs the disabled son and drags him under a swimming pool, and she takes forever to react. Do something, Mrs. McCann! But to be fair, the other kid is more of an evil shit than the robot. He manipulates him completely. This is some Emperor Palpatine type shit.
It again brings up the idea of what would happen if we had AI humans. I feel like we would either try and manipulate them to our advantage, or they would do it to us. I can't see many positives, I must say.
I guess some maternal instincts kick in because she grows to love him anyway and lets him get away with everything, until completely abandoning him in the middle of the woods. But this is where the movie completely loses me. The first 55 minutes or so, I'm really invested in. I love the stuff with David and his brother and the parents. It's creepy, it's scary, it's exciting. But then, we cut to Jude Law looking like an AI model, and we go from this exciting robot thriller film to watching Jude Law trying to get laid.
To be fair, the special effects and visuals are insane and very striking, so I end up absorbed by them more than the actual story.
The blue fairy made Pinocchio into a real boy.
I swear to God, if the blue fairy actually shows up...
Your wish is my command.
We get some cool long takes, which is kind of funny as the Teddy just pesters the security guard the entire time.
Where's David? Can you help me find David? I have to find David.
He gets captured by a circus, escapes, and then Jude Law just kind of hangs around. I'm not kidding, he serves almost no purpose to the plot whatsoever. The film has the duo going around trying to find the sodding blue fairy from Pinocchio, but the only thing that Jude Law actually contributes is...
We will ask Dr. No.
The Bond villain? No, it's this Einstein motherfucker voiced by Robin Williams, animated on the budget of a preschool play. But to be fair, it kind of fits the style of the character in the scene.
Hands up, who would have preferred Robin Williams playing Jude Law's role? A different character, of course, than that god-awful other robot film he did, Bicentennial Man.
But that's it, the Doctor tells them where to find the blue fairy in the most contrived way possible.
Many a mecha has gone to the end of the world, never to come back. That is why they call the end of the world Manhattan.
And then they fly to Manhattan, but David was going to do that on his own anyway. Other than telling him about the Doctor, Jude Law is completely pointless in this. Don't get me wrong, he's trying his best and he is pretty entertaining at points, if not a bit weird, but he doesn't do a whole lot.
You know what I think of him? Honestly, Jude Law's character is one of the best examples of why we shouldn't pursue AI.
I have to show you inside Mildred.
Nice.
You're a machine.
I'm a boy. Is he a toy boy?
This whole section of the film is just dire to me, and it's not particularly interesting, which is a problem I have with the movie. It feels like 3 separate films. Spielberg admitted that the first 40 minutes were Kubrick's work. I know, I was shocked too. They're even near Michael Myers.
Flesh fair outside Haddonfield.
And the rest has the trademark Spielberg, but they don't quite match. They feel like completely separate films.
Yes, that's the main issue. One half of the film is disturbing and creepy, the other half is whimsical and fantasy-like. It doesn't really match up.
And what's the third film that I'm referring to, you may ask? Well, the last section of the movie is quite literally an end of the day in the office writing job when they had run out of time. David heads off to Manhattan, which is now flooded. He goes to the bottom of the ocean, gets carried away by a bunch of fish, finds the blue fairy, gets stuck there for 2,000 years, wakes up to a bunch of aliens who then offer him a wish to bring his mother back to life for one day before they both die. Well, yes, I can't believe I didn't see that coming.
Run that by me again.
I mean, I guess the flooded New York looks pretty cool. Spielberg actually used the set of The Perfect Storm, which is pretty sweet. They had to remove a building that looked like a penis, though, to secure the PG-13 rating. Nice.
It looks more than cool, Rob. These are the visuals you go to a Spielberg film for. It looks haunting and amazing and majestic.
She would make me a real boy.
But you are a real boy. At least as real as I've ever made one.
So, not real then?
This is the problem. Not only does the third act seem rushed and tonally different from the rest of the movie, but the film is just run out of steam by this point.
The creepiness comes back when he's walking through the corridor of all the Davids. Bloody David. How many Davids are in this bloody film? Sick of saying the name David. That scene's haunting. There are some wonderful creepy shots and sequences. I will give it that.
I mean, you do feel sorry for the kid as he clearly feels completely lost.
Goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, David.
Thank God for that.
It's an emotional goodbye!
Nah, fuck him.
Many people did criticise this portion of the film for being very trademark Spielberg. But surprisingly, this ending was all Kubrick. A likely story, Stephen.
See, Kubrick was nice.
2,000 years passed by.
Well, obviously not when the Twin Towers are still there. It's honestly like a screenwriter bumped into someone in the office and dropped 3 separate screenplays and accidentally picked up the wrong ones together and combined them all. The CGI of the aliens looks awful.
I do love this sequence though. It's mysterious and dreamlike and a crazy vision of the future. I think the scenery and the buildings look great. I must agree, the aliens look like arse though. Why do they always go for this design? They always ruin it. The aliens look like shit because they always go for this stupid generic design. Try something new with aliens.
And the fairy looks just as bad. The thing is, they can't win. I feel like it'd be such a lame ending if they genuinely did turn him into a real boy, but then I feel like it's a wasted journey if he doesn't. I can't be pleased and I don't care.
Man, I disagree a bit. I think these scenes are probably the best since the early ones in the film. It actually becomes creepy and odd and mysterious again, with this sci-fi majesty added to it.
But then they dragged this out even longer than it needed to be.
When the resurrectees fell asleep on the night of their first new day, they died again. As soon as they became unconscious, their very existence faded away into darkness.
That's great, dude, but can I see my mum now?
These aliens don't half go on, do they?
I guess it's at least a sweet little moment because the audience have also spent the entire movie with David and away from his mum. So you do feel like it's a big important moment. But my god, it's so cheesy. It'd be hilarious if she just woke up like, ah, not you again.
Wait, I thought I got rid of you.
He went to that place where dreams are born.
Where this film should have stayed. Alright, it's not a bad film. It's not. It's fine. It was almost a decent movie. Ironically, the Kubrick stuff was great. I mean, the beginning. The
Kubrick stuff was awesome. It's Kubrick.
But the Spielberg stuff is where it loses me and it just becomes lame and cheesy. It has incredible acting and it does have its moments. I would watch it again, but I'm not really in a hurry. And compared to a lot of his other pieces of work, it just pales in comparison.
I'll be honest, I can forgive so much when it comes to Steven Spielberg. He's just such a good director that even in a film with a slightly dodgy script, there will be visuals and performances and moments that stand out. And I feel like that's the case with AI. It could have been fantastic, but it's pretty flawed. It's not one of his worst films. It's interesting and ambitious, just doesn't fully deliver like you'd expect from the master who is Steven Spielberg.
I have filmed 13 reviews back to back. My voice is going and I've still got 14 more to go.